Adventure is in my blood. Finding treasures big or small and having fun is what it's all about. With my wife Melissa and our 3 kids, life is pretty full. But there isn't a mountain we can't climb together. This isn't your ordinary antique store. My name is Alex Archbold and this is Curiosity Inc.
Hey guys, well it is the middle of the night. Well, not the middle of the night. It's late evening here. And I just got back from going to a lady's house. She was clearing out her basement. She's going to be moving very soon. And I was fortunate enough to have an opportunity to buy her kids' toy collection that they didn't want. It was left behind. I guess it was a situation where she said, come get your toys or else they're gone. They said they didn't care. So now I got them. It was pretty fun because you're going through, this isn't a toy collector. This is someone's like 1960s, 70s, and 80s toy collection that's just been sitting there this whole time, just waiting for me. So I'm going to unpack these boxes. Some of the things I saw what they were. Some of them are just boxes full of stuff. We're going to unpack these together on camera today and see exactly what we got. But stay tuned. We're going to go through some toy estate boxes and hopefully find some treasure. And this is the general assortment of stuff that I have to carry in. So you can see it's kind of a wide variety. Some rolled posters. No idea what they are. Saw that. Could not pass up a Velvet Elvis. Some boxes of toys, and of course you start seeing things like Star Wars and stuff like that, you know you have to try and grab the collection. So I'm going to unpack this stuff in the house and we'll go through it. This is the scene inside of our front entrance. Now it might look like just a big pile of stuff, but for me it's treasure. I've got a good variety of different things, and a lot of these toys come from the 70s and early 80s, which if you're collecting nowadays is kind of a prime time to collect. I am going to sort through all this stuff in just a little bit and hopefully get this mess out of our house before too long, but I can already see a few little treasures hiding in there. Can you? Let's dig through some boxes. I'll probably start with the obvious one right here, the old guitar that's on top. Now, you can see it's got the original dust on it. I have to clean that off, but this is probably a 1930s Stella guitar. They went out of business around 1972. They started in 1899. I can see this is the original finish on it. A lot of similar details to what I had in that 1930s Dobro that I picked up the other day with the painted beadwork on the edge. Likely a Depression era guitar, but it looks entirely original and intact. Other than needing likely a really good cleaning and new strings, this guitar looks like it's pretty much ready to play. The neck is nice and straight, good action. Nice little piece here. Brand new strings, cleaned it all up. Look at that finish. That's original patina, original finish on this guitar. And it really does have a nice sound. Very warm. It's really easy to play. Action is nice and low with no fret buzz. An excellent guitar in outstanding original condition. I think it was sitting all those years. Those strings that were on it had to have been like 40, 50 years old. They were old. They were rusted on. But this thing's great. I like it a lot. Really debating keeping this one. A lot of you might have had one of these when you were a kid. It's a ColecoVision. They must have had, yeah, that's a ColecoVision Donkey Kong. I think that's the first, or one of the first Nintendo games ever made. See, by Nintendo. That's pretty cool on its own that it has that. But the ColecoVision system is neat, but it's made even better by the fact that I was searching through a closet at her house and found the original box for it too. So look at how they sold these things. It's like you got the arcade right at your house. And this wasn't cheap either. $109.95 back in the 70s or early 80s. That was a lot of green. But at least I have the whole system here. I can pack it up in its original box, and that's a good little collectible piece to have. ColecoVision is all boxed up. That's the little expansion pack you could have bought there. That's all packed away. I'm gonna go through some of these board games. There's a show that's been on TV for a while, Family Feud. Of course, this is the 1978 version of the board game. That's pretty neat. And a local thing for us, Edmontonopoly. This came out in the 80s, and it's just kind of a fun thing to see. You know, all the different stores that were around. Some of them are gone now. Heritage Mall is in here. Boy, that hasn't existed in like 20, 30 years. They tore it out. It was a fine shopping mall and they just decided to knock it down. Yeah, it's kind of a neat, for a local piece, that's kind of cool. And of course, Star Trek, the game. Collector's edition. Wow, that's a limited edition, all right. Collector's edition of 200,000. You know it's not very limited if they made 200,000 of them. But still, there's a lot of Star Trek fans out there. And, you know, even though there's probably a ton of these out there, well, 200,000 of them out there, that'll still probably sell pretty quick at the shop, as long as people use their logic. For the next little bit, I need to call in an expert from my household here who might be able to share a little advice. Jason, I need your help with something.
Did you just call me an expert?
Yeah. Jason is somewhat of an expert on Pokemon. You collected and played this for long. You still have a lot of cards, right? The good ones? I found a whole bunch of old Pokemon cards in here. Maybe some of the original ones. They're, you know, like 15, 20 years old. Can you go through them and tell me if there's some good ones in there? But Jason, how do you tell if one's a good one or not?
Their abilities. Like, so see how it says like 10 there? If it like the higher that is the more important it is. And like the HP here.
That's their health, their power,
yeah, that's their health.
Okay. So you're going to go through and see if there's any good ones?
Yeah.
Okay. And while he does that, I'm going to dig through some of these little assorted toy boxes and see what kind of stuff I got in here. This box seems to have a little variety. That's an old 1960s, probably a Matchbox King series. The King series were the big ones, kind of like the size of a Corgi Dinky toy. Not the greatest shape, but you know, it's all there. Even has a little tailgate on it. It's kind of a neat piece. I always look for the older ones. That's where my interest is. Of course, it wouldn't be a assorted toy box without some plastic cowboy figures. And here's a cap gun with it's a real metal cap gun. It's slightly better quality than the rest, but it looks like it got a little bit damp or something. Maybe they left the caps in and it's become corroded. That's gonna greatly affect the value. But you know, as a little decorative piece or something, it's still kind of cool. They put the end on there so you don't think there's an actual 9-year-old running around with a little pistol. But, you know, good sellable thing for the shop. Toy car, little Firebird. Now, this isn't any kind of brand name, and it's been squished, so it's probably pretty well worthless. Condition plays a big role in whether it's a Hot Wheel or a Matchbox, like a brand name plays a big role too. So that's probably not going to carry any kind of value whatsoever. These little figures in here, I mean, they're not, unless they're marks or they are marked on the bottom what brand they are. These are the sorts of things you would kind of get like at a dollar store. So not super valuable, but if you are missing figures for your play set and you want to have them, well, you know, we might put this whole lot of figures out for, you know, $10 or something like that and see if we get any bites on it. That looks like it would have had a cowboy on it. See, that's where his feet would have gone. Probably had a little saddle and a cowboy on the back of it. But yeah, neat thing. My dad always had toys like this kicking around. This is the sort of stuff he played with when he was a kid back in the 50s. This box has sort of just a variety of kids' toys in it. I can see it looks like somebody probably cleaned up around the toy room and things just ended up wherever they ended up. But there are some 80s action figures. I think that's from the He-Man series, if I'm not mistaken. That looks really familiar. Look, his tongue works. You move the little thing on the back. I had a friend that had I never got into this stuff when I was a kid. I wasn't into He-Man. I was into Hot Wheels and Transformers and GoBots, and I had Micro Machines and Mask. If you guys remember the Mask toys, those were pretty cool. I had all that. Never had He-Man. But there are collectors for this stuff, and I'm sure this guy with his original tongue still working is worth something. I'm going to put that in the better pile of things. That's where my slightly more collectible stuff is going. Or some wrestling figures. And you can kind of tell Hulk Hogan, well, everybody knows Hulk Hogan, recognize him. And it looks like if you pushed a button on his back, it looks like he's doing the, maybe he would have had a bath towel and he's like, oh, in the shower wiping his butt. I think it's supposed to be more threatening and kind of go like this, like he's going to punch somebody. I liked my way better though. It was more innocent. But anyway, you know, wrestling figures can be collectible. And these are the older ones, the rubber ones like this. Typically go back to the 80s. A lot of times you'll find the year on the bottom of the feet or sometimes in the small of the back. This one is labeled 1987. So that is, yeah, 1980s wrestling figure. A little variety of action figures. I'll lay these out and see if there's anything cool in there. And Jason tells me there's really no Pokemon cards of note in there that he can find. No real super great ones. But that's okay. I just found a little box of Hot Wheels. So this might be one of the better boxes so far. It's not a huge box, but I mean, there's lots of stuff to go through still. But I always get excited about toy cars. Let's have a look. Early Hot Wheel cars can be very collectible. And of course, the red line is the ones you're looking for. But lately, Blackwall cars, which is that type of tire there, have been really picking up in value. So certain ones with the Blackwall tires can be just as good, if not even better, than some of the red lines. And when you're getting a car like this, you want to look for condition. So are there scuffs? Are the decals chipped or scraped? This one's not in bad shape at all. So I'm going to go through and see what there is. This is an early Blackwall because they made this in the Flying Colors series as a red line. And if I'm lucky, because there's a crossover period where they made the same car in a red line and a Blackwall, there might just be a couple red lines in here. So let's sort and see if maybe I'll luck out and find a red line. They made this in a red line too. That was out of the Chrome series. I had lots of these when I was a kid. There's the Paddy Wagon. Space Cop. That's kind of a cool one. Science Friction, 1977. And you can go online and look up prices of some of these cars based on condition and based on what they are. I don't have the prices of all these things memorized, but I do know which ones are sort of more rare than others. I know just enough to be somewhat dangerous when it comes to collecting because I kind of know what I'm looking for. Enough to go and look the stuff up later. And honestly, that's all you can do sometimes. You can't expect yourself to know everything. This is a red line. I did find one. It's in terrible condition though. That's a fairly unique casting. If this thing was in really good shape, it would be obviously worth some money. In this kind of condition, not so hot. But people are restoring these things. In fact, this whole YouTube channel is based around people who do nothing but restore old Hot Wheel toy cars and Matchbox and stuff. So that will still have value even in that condition because it's restorable. I'm going to keep that one separate in case I find any other red lines in here. But that's one. Well, that's the assortment of what was in that box. A little cap gun. Little flintlock. It's pretty cool. Some interesting Blackwall Hot Wheels. One red line. Some other neat early Hot Wheel cars. And for someone who's a Hot Wheel collector, this would be a fun thing to find. I got the little Starsky and Hutch Torino. The stickers on the side are getting a little bit dirty, but otherwise it's in pretty good shape. And that's made by Corgi. A lot of collectors of the Starsky and Hutch cars. I'm going to go through this other box now, and it looks like there's some bigger things. That's an old Tonka boogie van. It looks like a Ford Econoline or something. This is the Tonka. Oh, look, that's the back for it. Tonka truck and trailer. I have collectors that come through the store pretty regularly looking for Tonka stuff, so I'm always excited to find that. That looks like a McDonald's toy, probably. Funny little sandbox type toys. What I'm hoping for is that, you know, at the bottom of a box like this, you'll find the one thing that's just a little bit more on the unique or special side that's worth a little bit more or makes the box more valuable. Well, the Tonka stuff, I mean, I'll be able to sell that. That's not a problem. And that's a Matchbox Superfast from the 70s. There's a few interesting things in here. Some old Matchboxes and stuff. So I'm finding a couple stuff. I'm going to lay these out and see what the gems were out of this box. Well, out of that box, probably the best up was the Tonka toys. And then I had a few old Matchbox Superfast, some early rubber toys, little Volkswagen Beetle, a few little odds and ends, and even a couple micro machines. And that's the stuff I was talking about earlier. I used to have a ton of that stuff when I was a kid. I'm going to add those to my toy bin over there, and a lot of this other stuff will go off to charity. Okay, I saw this, and I can hear it's full. We're gonna crack it open and see what's inside. This will be the second time I found vintage Star Wars figures in the past month. And yeah, it's full. Let's see. Oh, did not find another vinyl Cape Jawa. That's the the one that came after. But there is a vinyl Cape Darth Vader, and he's got his full lightsaber in good condition. That's pretty good. His cape's in good shape too. And same with Luke. Telescopic lightsaber. The little end, I think, if it was telescopic, would come out farther than that, but often I think that little nib is busted off. That one's all there. C-3PO, he's not all worn out. He's in good shape. Yoda with his cane. The nice thing about this lot is it looks like the little guns and stuff for the figures are in there. So there's a snowtrooper with his cape and his gun. Everybody's got their little accessories. There's 2 Yodas, one there and one there. I guess, you know, twice as wise. Probably at Christmas, and they're like, you know, really like Star Wars, and then he ends up getting 2 of the same figure. At night, everybody has their accessory. That's pretty cool. I think there's one of these that has the little bit that pops out on the top that's more rare. That guy does not. But still. Let's see. Oh, he's missing his lightsaber. Maybe it's in here somewhere. Pretty cool little selection, though. I have a fondness for this stuff because it's what I grew up with. Star Wars and all these toys. My generation kind of stuff. And what's super cool, it's got the original carrying case, too. Another box of toy cars. See a 1980s Corgi Greyhound bus. They don't have Greyhound bus service in our area anymore. They used to have it all over the place, and Canada just really doesn't have Greyhound, which is kind of a shame because sometimes you need to catch a bus or move something. I'm hoping there's a few older ones mixed in here. That is either for Husky or Matchbox trailer. If I find the trailer, I'll know where that went. Oh, look. Another red line. Again, not in great condition. Special delivery. But that's the second one I found so far. That's 2 red lines out of a box. And there's lots of these. I mean, who knows what's in the rest of this box. I'll do a little sorting. And see what we have here. Lots of these toys are in kind of tough shape. There's little airplanes that are broken. The remnants, actually it's almost the whole thing, of a AFX slot car. That's the Spider-Man car, which the roof's a little bit squished, but it's missing the back piece. It's still cool though. Poor little beetle. Somebody squished this beetle and its wheels popped off. But all it has to be is just one good toy in a box like this to make the whole thing worthwhile. Well, there's the cab for that little Buddy L. I thought it was Tonka. I guess it's a Buddy L car hauler. That means there's probably little plastic or metal cars that go on that thing too. I'll have to keep my eyes open for. This box has... Oh, that's too bad. That would have been a cute little Tonka car, but the wheels are off of it. That's the thing. I've been finding things that are neat, but the condition has been great. There's been a couple little things that have been nifty, like that little Mini. And where did it go? There's like a big pile of toys in front of me here. These are actually from the Redline kind of era too. Those are made by Hot Wheels. They're called, I think, Farbs or Wowies. I can't remember. Somebody watching at home is going to say, oh, it's fill in the blank. Another little Red Bear and Redline guy there. Kind of an unusual casting. I haven't really seen that one a whole lot before. But that's a good find. I mean, that probably makes up for everything else in this box that wasn't in good condition. And some of you might recognize that. That's the Hazard County police car from Dukes of Hazzard. I haven't found a Dukes of Hazzard car in here yet, but there's 1, 2, 3 Hazard County police cars. But where are the Duke boys? They must have gotten away, and this is like the stereotypical pile up of Hazard County cop cars. After they try and jump in, they fail. But I see this is a much earlier piece. Tin plate, made in Japan, so that's going to be 1950s. Little fire chief car in not bad condition. It's missing a hubcap, but overall that's not really too shabby. That is a cool find. It's always nice to find at least a few really good things mixed in. There's a little Tonka Cars Complete. That's the type you wind up and you push this button and it takes off on you. Yeah, I've got a big pile of cars to go through, but I'm going to take a break and look at the model kits now. These are kind of 1970s, 80s era AMT model kits. This one's MPC. this, of course, is C-3PO. And is he built? Instructions are there. No, he is not built, thankfully. So that's still an unbuilt kit, which looks largely complete. It's always people buy these things even if they're built, but it's better to find them unbuilt in good condition. The next people can decide what they want to do with it. So a few really cool model kits there. And I'm going to dig open this AFX set, and I'm really hoping I'm going to find something inside. I'm hoping the cars are there. A lot of times it's just track, but let's see. Okay, this was the Blazin' Brakes AFX set. Let's crack it open. Please have cars. Please have cars. And is it just track? Oh no, look. There's cars right there. And actually there's even the semis. Those are super neat. These, I had this when I was a kid. Well, I didn't have that one. I had this one. And it had this back on it. These are from the Racing Rigs set. And they'd go around the track. These trucks would always fly off. They were fun to watch because the headlights light up on them. But that's neat. Okay. You know, the track is virtually, I mean, it's almost worthless. What you really want with these sets are the cars. That's odd. Made by, oh, that's Tyco. I didn't recognize it, but that's a Tyco car. It's an early one, though. And there's a strong market. A lot of collectors for these sorts of things. Oh, he's missing his grill. Okay, we'll see maybe if some of these extra bits are in here. Oh, look. Look. More cars. That's got the grill in the back. Yeah, it's an AFX. And that's probably the one that came with this set. Same with this. So these are the cars that actually came with this set. Those two. And these others were ones you'd go in a hobby shop and buy. I used to go and buy these things. They weren't cheap. I used to have to save up many allowances to go and get an AFX car when I was a kid. Let's see. I'm hoping I can find. Sometimes there's a little baggie with extra parts or pieces. Not sure what that is. Maybe I can find the grill for the cop. Yeah, the cop car is missing its grill. I had a couple other AFX cars I found in the other pile too. I think I've got a good stack of these things out of here. Oh, a good little variety of AFX cars right there. Opened up this box and it's full of old hockey cards from the 80s and 90s. So we'll go through and see if there's any good ones in here. I don't know what the reason was for the plastic wrap around this stuff, but maybe there was a method here. Hopefully I'll at least find some older ones. Might have some value still. The stack of old comic books, which I'm going to go through. I mean, you hope that you're going to find Spider-Man #1 or something. But oftentimes it's just a broken Dennis the Menace with no cover. But you never know. I'm still going to go through them just to make sure there's nothing really super great in here. How do I not remember Dazzler, who clearly looks like a disco girl in a white jumpsuit wearing roller skates? I guess they were really searching for things to connect with the kids back then, but a disco girl beating up Incredible Hulk? Oh, and they're mirrored disco ball roller skates. Well, at least she had some style. I'll give her that. Another cool find. Sold Mark's tin playset with all the figures. Probably from the 1960s or so. The tin carrying case. Mark's was a big deal back in the day, and that's the Fighting Knights set. The carry case. I guess you could take it to your friend's house and play there. I started to separate some things into lots for auction. So some of the old cards, comic books, these are all things that, albeit collectible, are things that I really just want the best of them at the store. And so the excess ones, the extra ones, those are all going to go off to auction or be donated. I'm going to go through some of these posters now, I think, see what we have. Oh, that's not a poster. That's the cardboard sandcrawler for the Jawa playset. That goes over with the Star Wars stuff. It's missing the bottom piece, but maybe it's in here somewhere. Have not heard of Killer Dwarfs before, but it's autographed by the band, which is pretty neat. And I noticed that there's a few of these that seem to be autographed. MCJ and Cool G autographed. That definitely looks like 1980s or 90s rap stars to me. I wonder how many of these other ones are autographed too. And a lot of really early Kiss posters in here too. Some of these are the type that would have come with your record. You can see where they're folded. Others are probably promotional ones from magazines. They were clipped out. And then if you're lucky, you find one that's from a record store or, you know, from a concert. I haven't found one of those just yet. Well, what I have here is essentially a giant pile of hairband posters. Lots of Kiss stuff, which I'm sure I'll be able to sell. And some of these are autographed. Not by Kiss, but by every other band that had long hair and crazy tight pants at the time. I've got this big mess still. I've really got to start cleaning up because it's getting late. So I'm going to start packing some of the stuff out that I've sorted to the car. Well, that's it. Everything's in the store. Just have to put it all away now and find homes for it. Luckily, a lot of the stuff is going to be pretty easy to sell. The Star Wars figures, the Hot Wheel cars. A couple of my favorite pieces that came in, though, were these. Velvet Elvis and the 1930s Oscar Schmidt made Stella guitar, which is just a joy to play. I think they just add a lot of fun to the store. These other items, like the plastic model kits, are great. Of course, the original container full of Star Wars toys. A lot of you watching might think that's the best thing. That's pretty good. I got all the AFX slot cars and Tonka trucks and just a really good haul of interesting things. The rest of it either went to charity, there was a lot that had to go to garbage, but really a very decent collection of things that I'm able to put out at the shop and find new buyers for. Thanks very much for watching today's episode, guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already for more adventures. You can check us out on Facebook under Curiosity Incorporated. You can check us out on Instagram under Curiosity Inc. YEG. Or you can come visit us live in person at our store in, well, not so tropical today, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. But it's a lovely spot to visit. And yeah, come by for a visit sometime if you can. Have a wonderful day, guys. We'll see y'all soon. Bye for now.